Well, hello everybody. It is March 16th, and there is so much more I should be doing right now, but I am just going to get this video filmed. I filmed one yesterday, but I just felt like it had a lot of mumbling and was really irrelevant, so I didn't post it. Here are the graphs for today. 4 more cases in Hubei and 14 more deaths. 2 new cases in Shanghai. And we're seeing an increase across the world. So Italy has 3,781 new cases and 368 new deaths. Spain has 93 new deaths. France has 36. Britain has 14. It's really unfortunate to see it spreading like this outside of China now. Iran has 113 new deaths. South Korea has 3 and Japan has 2. Yesterday they made a note that they had separated out the Diamond cruise ship and kept it separate now. So supposedly Japan's numbers are just Japan, and not the Diamond cruise ship because they count that as a separate thing. Oh yeah, see, there it is down there under other. So USA has 663 new cases with 5 new deaths, and Canada has 78 new cases with no new deaths. Guatemala has only 2 cases, and out of that, they already have 1 death. It's unfortunate. So yeah, so there's a Diamond Princess. 15 new cases from that, apparently. 7 deaths from that. So 249 are still infected. Alright, let's go to the live data. So there we go. Here's some graphs for y'all. Look at Shanghai. So still the same in my work location, and still the same in my... So the 2 new cases are not in 2 areas that I frequent. So yeah. Alright, so Italy on Sunday announced 368 new deaths in the last 24 hours, bringing the total death toll to 1,809. Top 30 infected countries by population percentage. Well, that's an interesting graph to have, as much as I don't like graphs. While the total number of infections in every country was the main index discussed, we thought compiling a list showing the top infected countries by the number of total infections by population percentage. That's really interesting. Let's see. Oh, it's the official site thing. Thought it would make it, I thought it was going to be like a bigger option to see, but that's okay. So Iceland, based on population, has the highest, and then Italy, Switzerland, Norway, Iran, Spain, South Korea, Denmark. See, China. But see, China's down here because it's such a hugely populated place, and because they isolated it in Hubei, we haven't seen the numbers we could possibly see. Coronavirus globally worsening, which just tells me that we are not in a place in China to go back to normal. Confirmed cases of coronavirus outside of China rose by 10,955 to 72,469. And the death toll rose by 333 to 2,531. The total number of infections around the world is 153,517 with 5,735 deaths recorded. Beijing to quarantine all international arrivals. That's what China's doing. Spain reports 2,000 new cases and less than 100 deaths. Let's see. All international flights are suspended to Morocco. Pilgrimage, or the tomb is closed. Italian architect who designed the 1992 Summer Olympic Stadium died. Road routes in Greece are being banned. Oh, Nike's going to close all their stores in the U.S. That's interesting. I think, like, and this is my opinion, I think in regards to stores, I think they could leave them open, just be precautionary. Um, Limit the number of people that could be inside at a time. I really don't foresee Nike stores having runs on them. I like grocery stores would, because people are stocking up on groceries. Um, but it also is not like a necessary thing to be open, so it makes sense if you want to protect people and protect your employees. I'm just thinking of like are they gonna, okay, because China made it mandatory that even though these businesses were closed for the month of February, they had to pay their employees. America is not doing that because America is a capitalist country, which means they cannot tell you that. And I mean, that's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they should make people pay. It's just, especially part-time jobs in retail, your employer can, in the majority of cases, could care less if you're making ends meet or not. And that's just the way it is in America. We all know this is true, right? They pay you as little as possible. They make sure to give you just under the required amount of hours to make you be considered full-time so that you can get all the benefits like insurance and all that stuff. So my thought is, like, Nike closes, none of those employees are being paid. That's why I'm saying, like, they could possibly stay open. That's the only reason I said that, because I know how retail works in America. And like, the few exceptions would be like the Disney parks. I believe that they would continue to pay their employees. But I don't really foresee a retail store such as Nike or those. I don't even know if Apple pays their employees outside of China. And legitimately, I don't know how Disney's going to handle shutting down their parks for a few weeks. I don't know if their staff is going to be. And see, a lot of people believe that Disney was shutting down their parks, that they're like, no one's there. But that's not true. Disney's going to have their employees there. They're going to be testing them, making sure they're safe. They might give them masks. I guarantee you, Shanghai, like, we're getting so many photos out of Shanghai Disneyland of, like, the characters posing in, like, empty parks. Not, like, to emphasize the emptiness of the park, but just they're sending updates out. And so, you know, they're still in there. They're cleaning, they're maintaining, they're servicing. Like, it's a perfect time, honestly, for Disney to really be just overhauling their parks. And, I mean, their parks are always clean and nice and lovely. This is just a time to do touch-ups and you know, whatever, you know. So I think the majority of the Disney employees are still working. They're still going to work. I could be wrong. I know they have a minimal staff there because Disney would not stupidly leave their park completely unattended because Disney is not moronic. So they would not be like, oh, it's fine. We're just going to have a security guard outside. Everything will be all right. No, they're going to have people walking through the park, checking on things, doing things. They're not going to just waste this time and just have their park sit there like a ghost land. I bet it's got to be so strange for some of these park employees. Like, I'm sure the majority of them have been in the park when it's empty and had like a privilege of that kind of wonderful photo opportunities. But and Disney is very a stickler. So you may be able to be in there to take photos while you're working or whatever, but they're probably like straight up saying like, you cannot post these on social media. Don't be sending anything out, because Disney is a stickler about what you release and what you don't. That's why a lot of times I'll say I refer to them as my employer. Sometimes I'll slip and say who I work for, but that's a lot why I don't really name who I work for in my videos, because it's, you know, I'm not allowed to divulge a lot of the stuff I tend to divulge. But anyway, don't go back and watch my videos just for that. I don't say anything I shouldn't say. I talk about what I know, like the fact that, you know, we were closed because we are. So, stuff like that. And I don't work for the park itself. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm rambling. Point in case, with retail, I just feel like in America, like, that is going to be extremely detrimental to the economy. And like I said, we're not a socialist or a communist country in America. And I'm sorry about my phone jingling. We're not a socialist or communist country. So the president can't sit up there and say, you have to pay your employees. He can encourage it, saying this is not the fault of your employees. So please pay them what you would have paid them had they worked that week, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But we all know that's not going to happen. There's going to be some companies out there that are going to say, look, we're the ones choosing to close down for your safety and for the other people's safety, so you can expect at least to get this from us. I feel like America is wholly unprepared for this. With schools shutting down, I'm seeing a lot of posts from friends in Santa Fe and surrounding cities of New Mexico, and they're talking about things that we don't like that. Like these kids are supposed to end up having access to online schooling content, but a lot of the kids live in rural areas. There's poverty across New Mexico, just like everywhere else, that is like a hidden poverty. In other words, like these parents and these kids put off very well that they're fine because people are so anti being helped, if you know what I mean. Which is why I think fully that, and this is, again, digression, but we do it very well. I firmly believe that all meals at school should be free. I believe that breakfast and lunch should not be charged to any child at all. And people will turn around when I say that and be like, well, they offer discount. Yeah, but a lot of parents are too prideful or too neglectful. It depends on what the parent's thing is, to actually go in and apply for that for their kid. And sometimes even discounted lunches aren't good enough. I did a photo shoot for a classroom that their photographer, they couldn't do their photographer this time or whatever, and my cousin knew them, and she said, oh, my cousin does photography, and so we got in contact and blah, 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 and we worked out this photo shoot right before I left for China. And I was telling them, like, look, literally, I could put together a package for these parents that, like, they could get, like, 4 wallets, 2 5x7s, an 8x10, and something else, and all different poses for, like, $10. And they're like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to order from Walmart. Granted, they're not going to be like this high-quality photo paper that these school ones charge you $80 for, but they're going to be photos that they're going to have, and plus they'll have access to the digital. And so at one point, I told one of the teachers, I'm like, honestly, they will have access to the digital. Like, I don't need to own your kids' photos. I don't need to, like, well, if you're not going to pay me, well, the money wasn't going to go to me anyway. I was volunteering this. But if you're not going to give me $10, you can't have the digital. I told them they can have the digital. I'll put them on Google Drive. I'll give you the link. They'll all have their edits. They'll have different poses, and they can have access to that, and they can order photos whenever and however they want. And they don't have to tell me. They can post them online. They don't care. They're not my photos. They're their kids. And she's like, really? That's amazing. And then she told me about a mother that started crying when she was told that she didn't have to put out that $10 for her kids' photos because she was going to get the digital copies no matter what. And the woman told this teacher, I am so glad now I'm able to put gasoline in the car for the week. It doesn't even occur to people like that there are people that actually live that life where there's food on the table, they're doing the best they can for their kids, but they have to sit here and decide, should I buy the memories of my kids or should I put gasoline in the car? Like, that's America. I mean, and I get it. Poverty's everywhere. Poverty is just across the world. But I feel like America just takes advantage. I shared in one of my other videos a notice from the state of New Mexico where they're saying, look, if you're price gouging, that is illegal and you will be caught and you will be arrested. And I was going to share this messaging thing this one woman did where she basically led this person on because he was selling 12-pack toilet papers for $300 and she was totally messing with him, which he totally justly deserved. I mean, if you want to invest time to mess with someone, you can. But ultimately, he got bugged and just told her, like, don't even worry about it. If it's not, you don't have to be such a jerk. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, why are you charging $300 for toilet paper, dude? And he was like, I'll give you 2 12-packs for like 600 and some. 620 or something. It's like, what? It's ridiculous. And that's what America does. It's ridiculous. And I mean, out of that, you also see, like, I showed friends willing to give free childcare, willing to give free groceries. You also see the good. I think that's part of the reason that we can see evil like that and still be okay, because we know that out of that we will see some good. We also see the good. So we can't always focus on the bad. My point was, I worry about people working at retail stores in America when the retail stores close down for this, because I firmly believe, and I could be 100% wrong, but I firmly believe that they're not going to be paid, that their employees will not be paid. And I just find that really disappointing. A lot of people are requiring the self isolation or quarantines, which is really good. So, yeah. So, countries that confirm their first case or death. 75-year-old Hungarian national. 42-year-old woman. It's the first case. El Salvador. State of emergency. First case. Okay, Lebanon announces a 2-week lockdown starting Sunday. I do like that they give you the, like, okay, dude, we're locking down, so if you want out, you better book it. At the same time, you know what I mean? If you don't know what I mean, read between the lines. Pope walks through Rome's empty streets and prays for an end to the pandemic. Guys, I gotta tell you, I wish I had, like, the power of the Pope. I just do. Like, I mean, he gets to... I mean, he's a very good person. I think I said that on one of my other videos. Hopefully I posted it. But I really admire this Pope. I don't really pay a lot of attention to the Pope because I'm not Catholic. So I'm very neutral about the Pope. Let me put it that way. I never really care because I'm not Catholic. But I also don't, like, hate the guy because I'm not, you know, anti-Christian and a horrible person. So, but this Pope, I really admire this Pope. I think he I think he sets a very good example for the world. I really do. I really admire this Pope. I don't know if I ever posted the video where I talked about that, but I do. But I just saying, I would like to be able to walk empty streets with my security like that. I don't want to be that important, guys. I mock. I mean, not mock, but I say, like, I'd like to be a very important person. I'd like to, you know... But I really wouldn't. I don't want to be popular. I don't want to be famous. If you look at what abuse through social media and other means famous people have to endure, it's not worth the fame. I just gotta tell you. I'm happy with my 7 or 5 or 3 views on my video. I don't need to be viral. I just, you know, I don't need, because my opinions are very controversial sometimes, and people would just get all up in arms. And even if they're not, you can say something totally calm, like, I like the color purple, and people will just go insane on you because people just feel like they have to. Oh, it's weird. South Asian nations discuss ways to tackle virus outbreak on a video conference. Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, the Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. About a fifth of the world's population. Americans returning from abroad face hours-long lines at U.S. airports. I would not doubt it. I don't feel like we're prepared. I really don't feel like America's prepared. I feel like America's prepared for a lot of things. I'm not saying that America's, like, inept. I just feel like this thing, they were just kind of like, yeah, it's China. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think they even thought that this would reach them. I legitimately feel that America just kind of thought, oh, look, it's like SARS. Look what's happening in China. And then, of course, we had all the racist comments, all the fake news, all the BS. And then now it's in America and everybody's freaking out. And it's like, but if you had not wasted so much time being dismissive, being racist, you know, spreading fake news, and had actually observed what China did. And guys, I'm not defending. There's some things that they did poorly. Just like any kind of situation like this. Most times we're reactive and not proactive, just like America's being right now. Although I will say America's definitely being proactive in a lot of ways. But so was part of China. Like Hubei, reactive. Rest of China, proactive. And we're seeing that now in the U.S. Like, oh, crud, a lot of the measures are reactive. And now they're like, oh, and now they're starting to take proactive steps. So it's, I just feel like, of course there's going to be long lines because America doesn't have the health check technology China does in their airports. Like, they have, you literally walk through a thing that checks your temperature even in times when there's not a sickness going around. You have to take off your hat. Like, you experience longer waits in the China airports because they do more in normal times. So now they've added stuff, but the airports here are virtual ghost towns because flights are canceled, people can't travel, and blah, 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 blah. So thousands of Americans returning home faced cramped arrival halls and hour-long waits for the Trump administration's new coronavirus screenings. And what's ironic is people are probably going to complain about that, whereas that's exactly what should be happening. And they're going to complain because it's Trump. If it was Obama, they wouldn't complain. And I'm just saying that because that is legitimately the truth. Everything Trump does is wrong. And I didn't vote for Trump. I always have to say that because I legitimately did not vote for Trump. I said in one of my other podcasts or videos that I do not declare myself Republican or Democrat. And last election, I did not vote for one of the main parties. I don't remember who I voted for. It wasn't even, I don't even remember. I just picked the person closest to what I believe and what I stand for. I will applaud Trump because he has done a lot of good things. And one of the biggest things that I applaud Trump for is standing with Israel. Because any presidential candidate and any presidential leader that we have in this country that does not stand with Israel is dooming our nation. Because we've already turned our backs on God. And if we turn our back on God's people, then the protection of God will lift from America. It's just the way it's going to be. We have to stand with Israel, guys. I'm not saying that we're going to have this horrible life. I'm just saying don't make yourself an enemy of God's people. That's all I'm going to say. Stand with Israel. You can take that or leave it. If you hate Israel, you need to really check. If you hate anybody, like, granted, I get there's terrorists in the world. I get it. I don't support terrorism. But I don't hate a race of people. I don't hate a nationality based on the actions of terrorists or the actions of religious zealots. That's all I'm saying. Israel deserves a right to exist. Israel deserves a right to be a country, to be a power. Israel deserves that. And if anybody thinks differently, then you're wrong. I'm just going to tell you that way. You're wrong. And I don't know all the ins and outs and politics of Israel. I just know I stand with Israel, and any president we have should. And that's one of the reasons I was actually like, I get it when Trump won. Because that's the first thing he did was, or one of the first things was showing that he stood with Israel. And I was like, hell yeah, because, Hillary would never have done that. Like, people, you need to pay attention to what happens. And I don't pay that close attention because politics just annoy the fire out of my soul. But pay attention to how many people in the UN are against Israel. And that is not okay. And we need to stand with Israel. That's all I'm saying. Okay, anyway, as I run off on a rant, it's because I got caught up on the Trump thing. So that's 2 rants today. Usually I try to keep it to 1 rant, but whatever. It's already, I try to keep this video short, and it's just like, but yeah, look at that. That's crazy. So this is a scene at O'Hare Airport, and the traveler who took this photo said it's a 6-hour wait for bags. Then on to customs for 2 to 4 more of waiting in shoulder-to-shoulder crowds. Police are handing out water and disinfectant wipes, which is not going to help you. If anyone in this crowd right here has the virus, everybody in that crowd's been exposed to it. This is exactly what we're talking about. This should not be happening. They're way too close to each other. It's an outbreak waiting to happen right there. So a transatlantic cruise ship carrying more than 600 passengers with at least 5 confirmed cases is frantically searching for somewhere to dock after it was refused entry. British officials have launched an intense diplomatic effort to find a country willing to take the MS Braemar, which belongs to the British company, Fred Olsen Cruise Lines. 20 passengers and another 20 crew members, including a doctor, are in isolation. The vessel is carrying 682 passengers and 381 crew members. And arrived in the Bahamas, authorities were the latest to prevent it from docking. But it was given permission to drop anchor southwest of Freeport. Interesting. Guys, I get the fear, but what are you going to do to these people? Like, oh, let's just leave them out at sea with an already confirmed cases so they can all just catch it and die? Come on now. Compassion. Have a little. All right, announces travel restrictions. Travel will be prohibited from the following high-risk countries: Italy, Iran, South Korea, Spain, Germany, U.S., United Kingdom, and China. Perfume factories make hand sanitizer instead. Well, that's good. I mean, they have a whole plethora of alcohol for that. All right, so face masks are necessary to wear. This is where we're going to wrap up our video. Well, that's interesting. I need to get out and do some more stuff. I need to go look at more art. I stay in my apartment. I was going to go out today, in fact, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. In China, most everyone now wears a face mask. If you're wearing face masks, it means you're sick. That's why some Asians who wear face masks have experienced discrimination and even been assaulted. Wow. The truth is, it helps, but no. For coronavirus protection, you need to protect both your eyes, nose, and mouth, as the most viable path of infection is through these parts. Also, one of the top likely ways of infection is how your hand comes into contact with the virus and touches the above three, thus completing the transfer process. However, judging by the atmosphere of whatever country you live in, you may be heavily discriminated against if you went out with a facial mask and goggles. A surgical mask is better than no protection at all, and it also prevents dirty hands from touching the face. Combined with recommended hygiene practice and the washing of hands regularly, it can improve the odds of not being infected. N95 masks are relatively expensive and required for only extreme circumstances. The ones with the exhalation valve are the best to prevent overheating and ease breathing. Guys, I still can't find masks here. Although I did have someone downstairs tell me that she'd help me order masks if I wanted to, because she thought that the supply was back. Masks are often worn in Far East Asia countries as a means to not only prevent infection but transmission to others. As it is not always possible nor realistic for everyone to stay at home and quarantine themselves over a slight cold, wearing a mask is a good compromise to mitigate transmission while being considerate of others. So that's pretty interesting. They have little comments from everybody. I don't know if I want to read this whole article because this video will go forever. So I'm gonna like slowly scroll these, and you can pause if you want to read them. So there's Barry from Italy, Siva Kumar from the U.S. Ironically, oh, there's another U.S. I was like, ironically, the U.S. I don't even think the U.S. would have an opinion, but apparently we do because we're the U.S. So of course we'd have an opinion. I thought I'd see something from like China, but nope, they just have the Italy and two from the U.S. I thought they'd have more. I expected to see China. That's why I was like, ironically, the U.S. I mean, even the fact that Italy is there. I would have liked to have heard from China. I would have liked to have heard from Iran. I would have liked to have heard from other places, but that's all right. So anyway, there's Siva Kumar from the U.S., and then there's Derek Harkness from the U.S. So there you go. I wish they'd had more people. I would have liked a more rounded out. I could have read all those in the time that it took me to be shocked that they only had 3 people, 2 from the U.S. and 1 from Italy. But anyway, moving on. That is the update today from Shanghai. I'm alive and well. Last night, I took my dog all the way downstairs and didn't realize I didn't have my mask on until I was already down there. And I felt very exposed and awkward. Of course, I posted my toothache mentality video yesterday. I had a really bad toothache. It's still slightly hurting today. Not to the level it did yesterday, thankfully, because I would have had to go to I keep wanting to say a vet, guys. Like, that's the word that wants to come out. I have to go to the vet today. I would have had to go to the dentist today to get that looked at. But anyway, everything's good. Sorry about my couple of rants. But once again, it's my opinion. You can take it or leave it. Don't get offended. Don't get pissed off. Just say, I don't agree with that, and move on. That's what we do in life, right? In theory. But, you know, everybody, we're doing good here in China. I don't know when things will return to normal. I may go to Disney Town this week, but that's also up in the air.